Welcome back to the Stick 'em Up podcast. Brundi, do you know just exactly how long Alexander Ovechkin has been in the NHL?
Quite a while.
It's been quite a while.
Long
I'm
time.
sure. I mean, you're a smart fella. I feel like you could do the math on just how long. But at this point, we are in the league long enough that in the Sharks Capitals game last night, both teams were wearing throwback jerseys that were both just regular jerseys when he entered the league. Um, there's a couple side by sides going around that are pretty cool right now. That of him wearing that jersey, like him. I think the picture is him beside Ryan Reeves, and then there's a picture of him versus another Sharks player from a game in 2005, and they're wearing the
Yeah.
same jerseys.
To clarify though, the Capitals weren't wearing their Eagle one at the time, but I get what you're saying.
That's
Like
true.
they're
They
now
weren't wearing it
using
last
it
night.
as like a throwback. But yeah, no, yeah, you're right. The Sharks were wearing retro throwback jerseys from 2005, and that's when Ovi was in his rookie year. I mean, yeah.
That's
So it kind of shows he's been
that's pretty
so in the
cool.
league so long that jerseys that teams were wearing when he started in the league are now being used as, throwback retro jerseys.
Throwback
So
retro jerseys.
yeah, it does go to show that he's been in the league for quite some time now and still racking up the goals. He had two big ones last night.
I think I saw he has. I want to say 9 goals in his last 11 games or something.
Something like
Like
that. He's on
he's
pace again now for 40 this year.
yeah, like he's. But what can be done about him, right? People keep
No.
asking who's going to be able to pass Ovi when they're at his age, and it's like it's hard to gauge because he's not done. We don't know where his numbers end up either.
Yeah.
So that in itself is pretty crazy. Those Sharks throwback jerseys as well as the original ones are based off of. One of the only jerseys I've ever liked that has a prominent amount of gray on them. Not a lot of jerseys can
Yeah.
look good with gray on them. Like,
I
I'm
mean,
struggling to think of many.
at the same time, call me biased if you want, but I don't think I am. The Sharks never have a bad jersey.
They've had very few misses, yeah.
Just the color scheme they use in the
The
logos,
color
it's
scheme
like
and the logos are good.
it's kind of impossible to mess that up, really. Like it's not like anything's like super, out of this world. It's just like you literally just can't mess it up with that combination they have.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I completely agree. And with that said, I guess we'll get into some of the news here. Oh, I see you actually have an
I have an
opening
opening
segment
segment. I
planned.
do. So, spoiler alert, there's not a lot of news going on around the league right now. Literally like nothing. So we're got some fun stuff we can do to kind of power through this episode and give you guys your bi-weekly hockey talk here. This isn't in the NHL though. This is outside the NHL here. I'll pull up the exact thing because it kicked me out of this tab. So we've done it in the past, or at least I've done it in the past, and I've brought it to you to kind of get your opinion, your raw reactions and whatnot, where we look at things outside the NHL, so in other sports. And, sometimes it went from weird contracts we've seen to multi-team trades to
That one was
teams
really
giving
cool.
up
I love
four
that.
first-round picks and whatnot. The league we haven't talked about ever on the podcast, actually, the NLL, the National Lacrosse League.
Ooh.
So on Saturday, there was a game between Georgia and Buffalo.
Okay.
And to sum it up pretty much, Georgia's goaltender was assessed a major penalty. Didn't get a game misconduct. It was just a major penalty for a cross-check to the throat of an opposing player.
Yeesh.
The goalie served his own major in the penalty box. There was not a player that went and served it for him, so he had to be removed from the game for those
sick.
5 minutes, served his major penalty, and then was allowed to resume play afterwards. Now, the league put out a statement saying that this is not a rule. They don't know why this happened. The goalie shouldn't have been serving the major penalty. A player from the team needed to go serve it for him. So I've never seen something like this. So I'm just
is that
kinda
not
curious.
allowed Like and in hockey too, is it not allowed for your goalie to serve it if you for and uh, why would a team ever opt to, right?
Mhm.
But, say Skinner takes a tripping minor. Are they allowed to send him to the box and put
See,
Calvin
so that's the
Pickard
thing.
in?
I don't think so.
Interesting.
I think it is a rule that you're not allowed to,
I think you should be
and
allowed to if you want to, just because it's
that
funny.
that's kind of where I'm at. Like I'm
And I
like
mean,
I get it's a rule,
teams
and
would very rarely choose to unless it's like
yeah.
unless you've got like Tortorella as your coach and it's a boneheaded play and he's like, I want you to feel stupid in there.
Hmm.
Plus, it would look really funny in all the
Yeah.
equipment. Lacrosse goalies, I think, you have even bigger equipment. Like they literally look
Yeah.
like medieval knights made out of fabric standing in the net.
They're big. Um, yeah. So I just kind of wanted to throw that out there because I thought it was cool, and yeah, to get your opinion on should goalies be allowed to serve penalties if the
Yeah,
team desires? And I think, I mean, sure, it's probably never going to happen, but I think
I think
that the
coach's
option should
discretion
be
is
out
funny.
there. Yeah.
I think that for minor penalties, frankly, if a goalie does something heinous enough to garner a major penalty, I kind of like the idea that he has to serve it and you have to put in your backup.
Yeah.
And if they score, the penalty doesn't go away. Your backup stays in, and maybe as the tendy, you don't take a major next time. Like
See, I'm kind of on board with if it's a minor penalty. I mean, who cares? Whatever.
minor guys take
But
tripping.
yeah,
I
a
mean,
major. I mean,
yeah, you don't have to
yeah.
parade the goalie over there because he touched the puck outside the trapezoid. Like that's goofy.
I
But
guess the thing is also is how often do we ever like see a
very
5 minute
rarely.
major that doesn't have a game misconduct?
Exactly. Like probably Binnington was the last time for surely one of his shenanigans, maybe. Or I
But
guess
even then,
fight. I guess
he's a
fighting
goalie, so it's
majors,
like yeah, but like there
and
is
even
yeah, I
then
guess
the
fighting
refs.
majors.
Man, they at some point the league sent out a message to the refs and said, "Do not let goalies fight under any circumstances." I hate how many times there's like a line brawl. There could be like a like 2-on-1 straight up mugging going on in the corner, and the refs will stop attending to it to make sure the goalies don't touch each other. It's like, come on,
Yeah.
the
I'm
fans
and
pay for the league, right?
yeah. I kind of understand it, but like I do also agree with you though. It does seem like they are like taking those extra steps to like make sure that
Yeah,
goalies don't fight. And I understand it because like goalies are wearing a lot more bigger equipment and whatnot, and more often than not, if they get popped, like when two regular guys are fighting and you pop one, you can kind of hold on to him as he's going down. But with goalies, like it's kind of tough with
they're
all
going
the
all over.
equipment and stuff. And so I think it's more so just to protect goalies from potentially going down and hitting their head or
Yeah.
not because not every linesman can be whoever that one linesman was who like dove in and put his hand on the back of the head of the one player going down. That was sick.
You
Sick
love
enough
to
that I
see when
don't
that
remember the name
happens.
of the linesman.
Yeah, I
Very
mean,
forgotten. We talk
who
about him, but we
remembers
don't
that
know
many
his
of them?
name. Uh,
Yeah.
so that was our little bit of outside hockey talk, and I'm sure
No,
there'll be
I love
something else
that.
crazy that happens in the next point in time, and we can discuss something else and
Also,
see if it makes
you're
sense
like
in the NHL.
you're like allowed to cross-check guys in lacrosse, like
Yeah, you can
pretty
two hand, I mean, not
pretty
like
decently.
brutally whack him, but you can get away with like
You could
slashes
get
and
away
whatnot.
with a lot of stuff. To get assessed a major for cross-checking, like in the throat, like that was probably pretty vicious. I would imagine. I'm surprised he would. If it's to the point where they're calling a 5-minute major for cross-checking to the throat, I'm surprised he didn't just get booted out of the game entirely.
Well, and that was a big, wake up call for me because I only ever actually played one full year of lacrosse. Because then it started to kind of interfere with hockey and obviously chose hockey. But I remember my first game and always a forward playing hockey, but lacrosse, they're like your defense. I was like, all right, I'll be a shut down defenseman.
Especially as the rookie, they're like, "Yep,
Very
whatever role we don't have enough people in, they just kind of throw you in a
yeah.
lot."
And very first play I my first shift I get burned wide and I'm like, this is sick. Don't know why, but I just two hand, just whacked Buddy on the arm, and I was like, "Oh shit!" Now I'm getting the penalty. I
That
look, oh yeah,
yeah,
no,
that was
nothing. I'm like,
stupid.
oh, I can get away with this.
And coach is like, "Keep back checking it." I'm like, "I can't believe the play's still going." Like,
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
like, oh, I was expecting to go to the penalty box. So yeah, I mean, obviously there's it's within reason, but yeah, you can get away with
Yeah, and you have to be
Lacrosse players
like
are built different, man.
I'm
They're
assuming you
tough.
have to be trying to make a play. Like if it's the guy with the ball and you're
Mhm.
trying to whack at his stick and you get him on the arm or whatever, it's like whatever. But if you're just like swinging at dudes, they're not going to like that. So
Yeah, exactly. It's within reason for sure.
yeah,
Um,
there's a couple of those
but
sports where like hockey's fast. It can get violent. I mean, what? How many other sports have like set up rules for guys who specifically they stop playing the sport and just start punching each other in the face? Like it's still insane that that just exists. Like
yeah,
it's still crazy. Like, could you imagine in football if like linebackers could just all of a sudden they just both take their helmets off and start throwing bombs? That'd be nuts.
that would be.
So
Well, it's a
it
rule in the NFL now that if you're on the field, you can't just take your helmet off.
oh,
So it's like if you're
interesting.
out
I
there,
assume
it's
there
like
was an incident tied to that, but
you got to keep your helmet on. So
interesting.
mm,
Meanwhile, in rugby,
you know,
are they even? I don't even think they're wearing helmets in rugby. They're crazy,
they're
man.
they're yeah,
They their their
that's a
equipment,
whole
their
different
dude, their
level,
equipment
right?
is like ankle tape and cleats. Like that's like they're
Yeah,
mad with it.
yeah.
But
But
we can move
we can,
into some of the news.
yeah. Well, I'll let you kick it off here. Talk about your boys over in Tampa here.
Yes, sir. Tampa Bay has extended Ryan McDonagh. They've extended him for 3 more years after this year at an average annual value of 4.1 million. Um, I have thoughts on this, but before I say them, I'd like to hear what your thoughts are on this as an outsider because I've been looking around and there have been so many takes on this already that like range anywhere from a bargain deal for a great player to a contract that's gonna an extension that's gonna age horribly because of his age and stuff. Like, I'd love
Hmm.
to know what your thoughts are on it.
I'm okay with this. I think it's I would like to know who the people are who say it's not a good deal, and if it's Oiler fans, well then I think just clown on because this is the exact same contract
It was a
pretty
lot of
much that
Leafs fans
Matthias
actually.
Ekholm got. Oh, well, Leafs fans can't talk shit about bad contracts. They can't say shit
It
on that.
well, it's funny because there's a lot of Leafs fans being like, "This looks like a bad contract," and obviously right away people would bring up, "Well, what about the Chris Tanev deal?" It's very similar. It's a little bit
Yeah,
longer and similar AAV, going up to about when he's 40. And
yeah,
I was surprised because the reaction from most Leafs fans that were saying that is, "Yeah, that's a bad contract too," which I was
interesting.
a little shocked by.
Because I was gonna say I view this as kind of it's very similar to the Matthias Ekholm extension in Edmonton, and
Yeah,
I think McDonough's kind of similar to Ekholm, more of a stay at home defensive defenseman and elevate whoever your playing partner is, and um
he's
yeah, I
made
think it's
Eric
fine. Four
Chernak a
point
lot of
one,
money over his career.
yeah. And again, our favorite slogan. We should just get a shirt that says it. The cap's going up.
Cap's going up.
It's McDonough's. I mean, second pair guy right now. Probably in the last 2 years or last year of it, he's going to be on that bottom pair. But even at that point, he's still going to be a solid, serviceable defensive defenseman. He's a great locker
Probably
room
still
guy,
on the
great
penalty kill.
leader. Yeah, like it's. I think it's a perfect extension. It works good for Tampa because it'll give him a little bit more money down the road to, um, bring in more pieces. Uh, and you're going to get value out of this contract. I don't know, maybe not the last year. Maybe the last year will be an LTIR thing or something. Who knows? But for the
Hard
time
to say.
being, it's going to be a fine extension, though. It's not going to actively hurt the team in any way.
Okay. Yeah. And that's pretty much where I'm at it. I frankly like it quite a bit just because he's obviously such a great locker room guy, but man, I think a lot of people think his game isn't going to age as well as it will. Um, I think
Okay.
a lot of people are like, he blocks a lot of shots. He has to take quite a few hits playing against those top lines as a defensive guy that it's going to wear on him. But he, while playing a great defensive game, he's not quite as much of a Chris Tanev as much as almost maybe not to the same level, but a Jacob Slavin type where he just uses incredible hockey IQ to stop plays before they're happening. And The way he
Mhm.
clogs up lanes and stops passes going across is second to very few. So
Yeah.
um, I think that part of his game is going to age very well. Um, yeah, the last year maybe it's not great at that point, but I I don't see it getting that bad anytime soon. I can't unless you know the answer. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think McDonagh led the league in plus minus last year. He was a plus 43,
I think you might be right.
or at least he was up there. I have a feeling they're like I don't know. I think Florida might have had a guy up there or something, but I mean,
If anything, he was up there, but I think you might be right. I think he might have led the league in it.
he was at least up there at plus 43. The current plus minus leader in the league um over their careers. He's
Oh,
only had oh, I was going to say 1, but it's not even 1. He's never been a 0 or lower over an entire season. He's been a plus every year of his entire
and a
career.
plus his whole career. Well, and that goes to show based on the way he plays. Absolutely, it makes sense, and he's always been on good teams. So thankfully, got out of Nashville before they took a nosedive too. So
Yeah, even those 2 years in Nashville, plus 12 and then a plus 19 in the second year there.
yeah,
Which I
yeah,
guess that
he's
you're
very
right,
very
that
good
is
player
before they
though.
fell
Absolutely.
off. That is before they
Yeah,
fell off.
as soon as he left, they took a nosedive. No,
Mhm.
yeah, but overall, I great contract for Tampa as usual.
Yeah. Now they
They
gotta
they
get to
don't they
work on
don't
a Moser
miss.
extension. Tampa
Yeah,
fans are waiting for it, man. We want that guy around long term.
it'll be coming eventually. They're
Yeah.
that
They
that'll
know
that'll
how
be
important
coming.
he is. And I believe he's still an RFA, so we have the rights.
Oh, is he? Oh, well, even better then.
Um,
Um, what do we got next here?
we
What's our
got
next?
Tyler Seguin. The Stars recently just got Jamie Benn back after injury, and now they've lost Tyler Seguin. Looks like he's, for the most part, probably going to miss the entire rest of the regular season
And
due
probably
to
the
an
playoffs, I
ACL
think.
injury. That's rough. That's rough. He was man. This
Yeah.
is a guy that honestly I think is really underrated for how good his career could have been if not for injuries. Like,
Hmm.
do you think Sagan's a
Yeah,
Hall of Fame
absolutely.
guy?
No.
Like, I'm leaning no as well, and that sucks because I think he would. I think we'd be in conversations for is he a lock or not if he hadn't been injured
Hmm.
a decent bit through his career. His production dropped once he got injured. Just over 1,000 games played, 367 goals, 826 points. So actually, a good bit more goals than I thought compared to the overall points. He's he's racked him up over his career, but
Yeah,
it's hard
so
to
I
tell.
don't think so right now because again, kind of the biggest thing is
Individual hardware.
doesn't have an individual award. He does have a Stanley Cup, but that came in his rookie year, and he wasn't a mainstay in the lineup. Right, he was a mainstay in the lineup
Does
for most of the
does
regular
that
season,
matter? Do
but
you think? Because you always hear
I,
about these
I,
guys being like,
mm,
but they don't have the cup. You need that. You need the one cup to really cement yourself. Like, if McDavid retires without a cup, he's in the Hall, obviously. But like for a lot of fringe guys like this, where there's a legit conversation, it very often boils down to people are asking, do they have that cup? You know,
and I think it depends on the context, though, right? Because if you're a player who, how do you know a mid career, and it's like you won the cup, but it was your rookie year, and you played a quarter of the games in the playoffs on the fourth line.
yeah.
Right, and obviously that's not the entire case with Seguin. I'm not saying that, but I think it
No,
also kind of depends on when you win that cup. It's
were you a factor?
were you a factor in it? Were you kind of a passenger?
Were you
And
a black
obviously,
ace? Were
you
you
need
in
a
and out?
full
Yeah.
team to win a cup, but you do see cases where you know some guys put the team on their back, and there's kind of guys that's like they didn't show up, but they're a part of the team, and so they get it. And um, I'm on the fence with Sagan still. I think a big thing is you know I think if he's able to come back from this injury and maybe win a cup with the Stars, I think it's possible. But Sagan recently in an interview, was talking about his previous injuries and the rehab and the processes he went through, and him contemplating retirement due to all of this, and then getting very emotional, talking about Jamie Benn, who, they've kind of been the core of what this Dallas team has been built around for the last 10 plus years. And, so
those two
it
both
makes you
have
wonder
jobs
if
for life if they want in that org once they're done with their playing
absolutely.
career.
But
Yeah.
it makes you wonder, is this potentially the end for Tyler Seguin, or is he going to be able to come back from this and try and run it back with Dallas? It's
He's 33, turns 34 in
very,
January.
very early. I'm on the belief that I think he will come back because I think he's committed to winning a cup with Dallas. But again, like we've seen with
I think
guys
he's one of those
before,
guys that just loves hockey
injuries
too.
are, yeah,
Like
yeah,
he visibly
absolutely.
loves the game. Like he's one of those
Yeah,
guys where if his body would allow, he'd play till he's 40 plus. I don't think he'll get to that point because of the injuries, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he does when he comes back and if he can kind of right the ship a little bit, put together some healthy seasons. Last year he only played 20 games. He had 21 points in those 20 games. He's still capable of being a
hmm
point per game player. It's just been so long.
absolutely, yeah.
21, 22 is the last time he played over 80 games. So,
And
it's
again, it's not confirmed that as of right now that he's done for the remainder of the year, and we won't see him till next season. But if you're the Dallas Stars, what do you do? Right? And I think we had the exact conversation about Tyler Seguin last year. 9.850 is his cap hit per year. Do you put him on the LTIR and it's confirmed he's done, he's not coming back, and then all of a sudden now,
now
you're
they can be buyers.
you're sitting second overall in the league and you just had almost $10 million open up.
Could be
It's
nice
something
for
there.
him.
And
Or is it
um,
better to just stay the course? This Dallas Stars team is making the playoffs without him regardless.
absolutely.
Do you just hold that spot and maybe you have a Tyler Seguin coming back in the second, third, fourth round, maybe depending on
Potentially,
how it goes.
kind of go into, this is probably something we'll discuss a bit more because one of our segments we're going to do is talk a little bit about playoff predictions, but you're going to have to go up against Colorado. Probably
Yeah,
not the first round because I don't see Dallas falling to a wild card spot, and I think Colorado probably finishes top of the Central. So it's probably a second round matchup, and I don't think Sagan would be back by then. You probably need to bring in some reinforcements if you're going up against Colorado.
right. That's fair. You got to plan to be beating the best teams of the playoffs. You can't plan for an easy route or anything like that. So
Yeah.
maybe that's the call for him.
I'm gonna
Um,
confirm here if it is a horn.
I'm just looking here at another comparable player for the conversation we're having with Cups, Corey
Just keep
Perry.
saying ACL injury. Corey Perry.
Uh, Corey Perry. So I believe it was his second season in the league. They won the cup, right?
hmm
Um, but in the playoffs, obviously he wins the cup with the Anaheim Ducks in '07. Um, I wasn't sure how much of a factor he was in those playoffs, so I wanted to look up his numbers. In 21 games played, he had 6 goals, 9 assists for 15 points, was a +5, 37 penalty minutes too. So just under a point per game player, scored quite a few goals. So
Yeah,
that does kind of lend something to it does matter how much these guys
but also
perform in those playoff runs.
Corey Perry's got
His is a
a
different
heart and
conversation.
a
A heart,
rocket too. Yeah.
higher overall numbers as well. He has been playing a bit longer, so we'll see.
hmm
If
Yeah, I
Sagan
think
catches
Sagan's
up at
one of
some
those
point.
guys that you can make the argument for both, but I think if his career is done, then no.
Yeah,
But I think if he comes back and, again, we still know how good of a player he can be, how effective he can be. I think there's the possibility for that, absolutely. So it's kind of just a waiting game. Obviously, we hope Sagan's okay and, is able to come back because I think he's still a great fit in Dallas. He's still a terrific player. And
yeah.
again, he's just, you can just tell how much he loves the game and, just wants to keep playing with the boys
Yeah.
in Dallas as long as he possibly can.
He's one of
And
those
hopefully he
guys
gets
that
a chance to do that.
he doesn't really have like the universal love of Crosby or anything like that, but he's one of those
Mhm.
guys that you don't see many people ever say bad things about him. There's the Jamie Benns of the world. There's plenty of people who don't like him. Even guys like Draisaitl and Kucherov, like they have plenty of people who don't like him. But for a guy who's
Yeah.
played over 1,000 games, Seguin has very few haters, which I think
Yeah.
at a certain
Yeah, he
point
doesn't
says
have
something
any
about him.
really. Yeah, absolutely.
But best of luck to him on recovery, and hopefully he can make it back in time for the playoffs if that's the route the Stars want to go on.
That would be ideal, absolutely.
Up next, looks
Absolutely.
like we're going into the Olympics talk.
Yes. We'll do the Olympics talk here. So before we dive into the big stuff, the stuff that'll take up the majority of it, I have just a small little trivia thing for you. Won't take long here.
Okay.
Um, this is from Big Head Hockey. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so it's got the top 6. I'm just gonna see how many you can get out of the top 6 here. The
Okay.
most points from an American player since 2022-23. So the 22-23 season. Most points by an American player.
American player, not necessarily American forward. You'd assume it's mostly forwards, but it doesn't specifically say that.
Just yeah.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go Jack Eichel.
Jack Eichel not on the list.
Wow.
Yeah,
Is that
that was
before he
surprising.
missed an entire season? Is that probably why?
Yes,
Geez, that
I believe
recently, huh?
so.
I guess. That
Um,
would have been the year. That first year would have been the year he missed because then he goes to Vegas in 23 and wins the cup. Right.
in his
I w-
second year, yeah.
I was I was thinking, "Oh, you know what? I'm not going to
Yeah,
say
'cause I mean, it's
Matthews
his
first because of
first.
injuries. I'll go with the healthy guy, Eichel, and I picked a guy who missed an entire season."
Well, no, because it was before that, but his first, because the time that starts was Eichel's second year with the Golden Knights, the year they won the cup. His first
Oh,
full year
okay.
with the team, but he only played 67 games and he only put up 66 points. In his second year with the Golden Knights after winning the cup, he played in only 63 games and had 68 points. And then last year, of
That's
course,
okay. So the
94
points
points
per
in
game is
37.
there,
So
but he's not playing enough games. I mean, top 6 is pretty high up.
yeah,
I'm going to throw Quinn Hughes in there.
Quinn Hughes is number 6, 266 points.
More points than Eichel in that time. Goddamn. Kyle Connor's got to be up there. He's healthy and he's
Kyle
putting up numbers.
Connor is 5th, right above Quinn Hughes, 269. Kyle Connor's actually tied with someone.
Austin Matthews.
Austin Matthews, 2nd, 288.
Had that much time missed in random spots here and there, and he's still second. He's low key starting to become almost underrated between the playoff hate and the
The
injuries, which
injuries.
are a factor. People forget he's still a game breaker. He won a Hart not that long ago.
True.
I don't think Tage Thompson scored enough in that time frame.
No.
Um,
Missing 3 players.
I think Brady Kachuk doesn't score enough. Matthew Kachuk's missed enough time, and he's kind of its all around game, not points as much. Jake Gensel,
No Jake Gensel.
Jason Robertson,
Jason Robertson, number 1,
number
305.
one.
305.
Wow, and we don't know if he's even going to get on that team.
That's yeah. So basically, I can spoil the other. Well, actually, I'll give you a couple more guesses.
Hellebuck and Ottinger. uh, who are the other top American players? Am I crazy? Is it Matthew Kachuk?
Both are captains for their respective teams.
Both are
One in the East, one in the
captains.
West.
Uh, JT Miller
JT Miller tied with Kyle Connor, 269.
and a captain in the West.
Your favorite,
Uh,
your boy.
My boy.
Yeah. Maybe not necessarily the player, but his mascot.
Clayton Keller?
Clayton Keller, 274.
Wow.
So Jason Robertson is 305, and then Clayton Keller is third, 274. And these are two guys that might be left off the Olympic team.
Wow. That's crazy. I didn't think Clayton Keller was going to be that high up. Eichel's not on the list. Man,
Yeah.
good for them.
The thing is you got to have multiples of those seasons where you're well over a point per game, though.
Yeah.
Right? Like Jason Robertson had that year where he had, 100 points. Clayton Keller
like
had
108
that
or something,
last
yeah.
year where he was 90. Was he 90 even? 91, 92 points?
I think
Actually, I think it was 90 even.
I think it was 90 even. I think he
90
had
even,
like
yeah.
a perfect split of like 30 goals, 60 assists. He had one of those really clean
I kind of
stat
think
lines.
you're right, yeah. But so that's kind of what this whole thing was designed for, is to be like, two of the top three American scorers over the last, 3 and a bit years might not be on the team. For what reason?
And
I don't know.
they're sitting there parading around the fact that, like, we're not picking guys who are having a great year this year. We're picking guys who have been good. Okay. That's the last 3 or 4 years there. Like, that's consistency.
And I
Wow.
do slightly kind of
Robertson also
understand
plays a good defensive game too. Like,
yeah.
looking at those numbers, he looks borderline undeniable for the team.
The only area I can say with Robertson that's like you could be worried about, if you're selecting for the Olympics, is his skating isn't
The
great.
skating.
You can look at the analytics, and he at one point in time he was in there with Pat Maroon, and that should tell you all you need to know.
If you
But
get
I mean,
line
at the end of
matched
the
with
day,
Braden Point, Connor McDavid, and Mitch Marner, or whatever the lines are,
could be
I mean,
tough.
they could torch him.
It could be tough, but at the end of the day, he makes it work still. You'd be like, yeah,
Yeah.
he's not the best skater, but who cares? If he's one of the worst skaters in the league, but he's playing some of the best hockey out of anybody in the league right now, and he's been the most consistent out of all American players over the last 3 and a bit years. I don't understand how you can't bring him.
Yeah.
Like, I know everybody wants to see a guy like Cole Caulfield. They want to see Alex DeBrincat. But you can't bring those guys if it means Jason Robertson gets left off the team.
Yeah. One of these days, fairly soon, we're going to have to do a full projection for what we think these teams are going to look like. Because
we've
done it a bit for Canada.
Soon, I think
we haven't done it one in a bit for the States, and
maybe that'd be a YouTube thing we'll run.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that because people keep talking about, oh well, if you bring him, you have to leave Caulfield at home, and I'm like, there are 12 guys on the forward core. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be him. And I'd love to know who everybody is considering a lock for these spots. Because frankly,
I think
so many
quite
good
a
players
few
like
that are locks. But for me, Jason Robertson is a lock. I don't know if
team
he's
has like
gonna, but if I was, he would be a lock.
Like,
well, who do you have? You'd have.
Well, I guess I also wasn't including goaltending. Hellebuck Ottinger is frankly a lock. We'll see who the third is. Quinn Hughes, Slavin,
Fox, McAvoy.
Fox. I mean, McAvoy with his injury. Werenski would be a lock.
Fox or McAvoy would be fine because it was just his jaw.
True. Even without the injury, I don't think he's a lock. I think he's probably making it, but Quinn Hughes.
I think he's a lock.
Quinn Hughes is a lock. I think they could get away with leaving Charlie McAvoy if they wanted to.
You could, but I think he is still a lock in terms of and more than anything because he's a right-handed defenseman.
That is true,
and that's a luxury. On the left side, you've got Quinn Hughes, Slavin, Werenski, and Sanderson. Like that's your left side locked up. If you're another left-hand defenseman, man, I'm sorry.
I don't think Sanderson's a lock either. Again, good chance he makes it, but like you're not.
I'm not saying Sanderson's a lock, but I don't think you can convince me of anyone else that would bump him out of that spot. I guess.
And that's fair.
It's not like he's a lock. I mean, the forwards, what? The two Kachucks, Gensel, Eichel, Matthews.
Honestly, like they're going to be there. But frankly, like, are the Kachucks should
Okay, well,
wi
Matthew Tkachuk is for sure a lock.
Matthew Tkachuk, yes.
Brady Tkachuk,
Should
I think
Brady Tkachuk
still.
be a lock? I think, frankly, I do think in reality he is a lock. There's no way they're leaving him home just for the name value of it. But like skill wise, should he be a lock? When we're talking
Yeah.
about guys like Robertson not going, Tkachuk is a 30 goal, 60-point guy right now. You know,
Mhm.
so
But
but
that's the
obviously
thing
with
is,
the name
again,
value and his
Robertson is a
performance at the
lock
Four
for me.
Nations,
Yeah, but then it goes back to, if it's coming down to it, say Robertson kind of replaces Tkachuk as that lock, then you're still Brady Tkachuk versus these other guys, and I would still take Brady over them, 10 out of 10 times. Just because of what he
maybe it's
brings.
just
He brings the energy, and if yeah.
yeah. We'll have to we'll break it down further in a future video. We'll probably do a YouTube
But the whole
exclusive on
point
that.
basically is what I'm saying is, like, for me, Robertson should be a lock because he is great at every area of the ice. If you don't like his skating, fine, tell him that to his face, and he'll be like, okay, cool, I'm still
Then why do people talk about
right
him
at
like
this
he's
point in
good
time a
defensively?
top
Right?
top
Like,
3 American forward,
yeah.
arguably one. I don't think that's crazy to say.
I mean, I wouldn't put him as the best American player right now, but for
I think it's
who's
a
performing the
conversation at
best
least.
at the moment, it's definitely him because he's scoring a lot of goals. Is he still top 5 in points in the league at the moment? If not, he was within the last week. Like,
I don't know for points, but I know for goals he's got to be. Yeah, okay, so he's tied for 4th in the league in points, tied for 4th
yeah.
in goals.
Yeah.
And tied for 24th in assists. But hey, as a 2-assist game, he's up to
Does that
top
mean
10.
he's the top scoring winger as well?
Yes, because McKinnon,
So you don't even have to move a
Celebrini, Bedard,
centerman out for
Carlson.
him.
Yeah.
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 Frankly, he should be on a top 6 wing spot, if not line 1, line 2.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, yeah. I think him on the line
absolutely.
with Matthews is money. I like that combo.
Even Eichel, man. Either one, I don't think you can go wrong. Like, I don't think you can go wrong putting with either one of them.
No, those are both
But
phenomenal
I think
fits.
you're right. It will be Matthews because odds are they're going to put the two Kachucks with Eichel again. Because that actually did work out pretty well for him. Like, hey, if it works, why not run it back, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that was probably their best forward line.
This all depends on if NHL players actually go to the Olympics, and that seems to be a discussion that is starting to happen here. Do you want to set the scene for us here?
So I believe we talked about it a good bit on the last episode, but for the Olympics, they're supposed to have all these buildings built and tested a year in advance, and they decided, nope, we're gonna test it like in December when the Olympics are in February. And then recently we heard, oh, it's not gonna be ready for that point. We're gonna test it at the start of the Olympics, which is crazy. And it's gonna be smaller than we expected. So it's also not gonna be regulation. So that's also not good. So you got all that going on, and now we're wondering, is it gonna get done in time? Because it sounds like the NHL, if it's not done in time, they might just say no.
They're gonna pull the plug on it.
And one thing I want to ask, and there's a good chance you don't have the answer because I don't either. Can they do that? Can the NHL say the players can't go? Did they not sign in the CBA that they're allowed to go? Like, it's not a parent it's not a kid asking their parent for permission to stay up late. This is like, is this really something that is just by their word? It's not in writing? Because that was the main arguing point in the CBA. They really wanted the Olympics back.
Yes, that was a part of the CBA, but then the other side is the agreement between the double IHF and the NHL on the Olympics and whatnot. That agreement has now been broken because the ice is going to be smaller. The arena again now looks like it might not be ready and functionable in time for the start of the Olympics. So now that agreement has been broken. So I think that gives the NHL the power to back out because that agreement is already been broken.
Like the
It's kind of the way that
players,
I view it. I could be a bit wrong, but that's kind of the way that I'm seeing it.
yeah. And that's kind of how it seems like it is. That seems crazy to me. Like, dude, we're gonna have a freaking lockout if they tell if like these players left so much money and different benefits and stuff on the table,
To
not
go
only
to the
because they want to
Olympics.
get it done in time, but they got the Olympics. That was like there's
Mhm.
plenty of players that on record said like that was their number one thing. And
Yeah,
they just want to play for their country. And these players don't care. If the rink is smaller by 10 feet, it'll be
yeah.
annoying. Nobody's pulling out of the Olympics because of that in protest. They all want to be there so bad. So
Mhm.
if that is the reason that the NHL ends up being like, we can't let you guys go, these players are going to be livid.
Yeah, and I've heard things if they don't want to send NHL players there, if it's going to be like, unsafe conditions. What does that exactly mean? I don't fully know, but I think,
Exactly.
and again, at the end of the day, I don't think that they're going to pull the NHL players from going, but I think they're trying to put some pressure on, you know, to get this arena done, to get shit done, because again, like it
Yeah.
is, we should have already been having test events at this arena that they're
Several
building,
months ago.
and
Yeah.
now, and now that's not going to happen. We're at the deadline today. Actually, I think yesterday, December 3rd, was when that pushed the original pushback date. They were supposed to do a test event, and that's not happening. Now it's again, yeah, you're going in blind, and so again, I think the NHL has cause to pull the players from it. At the end of the day, I don't think they will, but I think they're trying to put some pressure and being like, this
Mhm.
shit needs to get done. We didn't, you know, come to all this agreements for you guys to just say fuck it and make a mockery of this basically because
Yeah.
it kind of is. You know that you had all this time to get the arena done and all this shit, and it's just been completely derailed. It's been
It's
just
an absolute
ruined,
shit show. Yeah.
and
Has
so
a
that's kind of
player
where I'm
ever
at with
gone
it.
Has a player ever gone to the Olympics when in a year where they were told they couldn't? Is there a precedent for that?
I don't think it's happened, no.
Oh, okay. I
Because
like
also at the same time,
I have
because the
no idea
last few
what the
Olympics,
punishment is for that, right?
yeah,
Like,
because we've haven't seen that because 2022 and 2018 when the Olympics on NHL players weren't going, there were still just NHL games taking place during then.
right.
They just kept on the regular season like the Olympics didn't exist. But now, imagine if they decide, okay, NHL players aren't going. What do you now do with that 3 week span where you have no games scheduled?
Yeah.
You can't just completely re-alter the entire regular season schedule now. So do you just go, 3 weeks or whatever of just no hockey for these guys?
Yeah,
All go on
like that
vacation for 3 weeks and just fuck off and then come back and finish out the season. Like it's yeah, it's I don't know. That's why I think at the end of the day, I think NHL players will go. They're just trying
yeah.
to put a little bit of pressure to get this shit
I
going
think more than
because
likely they do
you've
go.
got 2 months,
It is just scary that this is even a
even
talking
a
point. And
possibility. Absolutely.
if they are told not to go, I do wonder, are there some guys that who would be risking less that might end up going? You know? Um, I'm trying to think, like, because they're still going to play the games, even if NHL players don't go, right? Now they're
Yeah,
just showing up with a far less skilled team.
yeah.
Does a Corey Perry say, LA doesn't look like they're making the playoffs, and what are they going to do? Terminate my contract? I'm 41 years old. Like, does Corey Perry be like, hey, I'll go? Fuck, is he the captain of the team at that point? Like, like, do some of these, especially like older guys, be like, screw it. I'm making league min for another 2 months, and then I'm probably retiring. Let's go represent the country one more time. Are we seeing something like that? Like,
Or DC guys, and I don't know if they would even make the team, but a guy like Pat Maroon who just retired, does he
yeah,
say, hey, you know what? I'll go play though.
yeah. And he's probably
There's
good enough
nothing
that
preventing
if
him.
there's no NHL players going, he's probably good enough to make the team with not with a shockingly little amount of prep. So
Mhm.
It could be fun.
Yeah,
Do we see a player with name
it's
value kind of put the ball in the league's court? What if Brad Marchand says "fuck you" and goes? All of Canada gets left behind, and he just says, "I'm gonna do it, and we'll see what happens." Do you think are they gonna find me? Do they terminate my contract? Do they what do they do? Right? Because there's plenty of rich players that could just eat a fine. And if you told McDavid it cost him $20 million, but he could do it, he'd do it. He'd just do it.
But if you tell McDavid you're suspended for the rest of the season and playoffs, does he do it?
Exactly.
If that's what they throw out there on the table and be like, if you go, you can go, but the remainder of your season and playoffs are done. We'll see you at the beginning of next year.
Would that be worth it for the league? You're losing out on a McDavid playoff run. That's a lot of money you're flushing down the drain. Is it even worth it for the league at that point? Now everybody loses.
But again, it's like they said, is it worth sending players when it's unsafe conditions there on an arena that, by the looks of it, could fall apart at times?
Yeah,
because it is still so far from what we've seen from being completed, right? And again, that's kind of why they said they don't want to send them there if the conditions are unsafe.
Yeah.
And they also aren't going to be like,
it sucks that they're giving them cause to think that, because even when there's even when the arena's built and there's no reason to be worried about anything like this. In the past, even in those conditions, that's when the owners were like, stop sending them to the Olympics, because they just didn't want them playing hockey for somebody else and getting hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So even in perfect ice conditions, the owners don't want them going. So giving them any cause to be like, we can use this as an excuse, I don't like. So
yeah, at the end of the day,
these dudes start working 24/7. Get 3 rolling shifts of 8-hour shifts. As soon as one's done, the next is on, and just around the clock work on this thing. Get it done.
Absolutely, because I firmly do believe that the like the NHL, they want to send their players. They want their players to go, because they have already been seeing a massive growth in hockey and whatnot from the Four Nations, because of what what these NHL players brought. And now having that in the Olympics and having even more eyes on it, because Four Nations got a lot of traction, but the Olympics, it doesn't compare to what the Olympics gets, right? And so they're going to see the game just grow even more and see that increase in fandom and sales and all this from the Olympics. So they want the players to go, but they don't want to just give in and send the players and take a knee because the arena didn't get finished at time, and the IIHF and the Olympic Committee, they fucked up on getting that stuff done. So that's kind of where the NHL's at. I think they really do want to send their players, but they don't want to be like, well, we came to this agreement and whatnot, and we're totally just giving a big fuck you, and now we're supposed to just be like, oh, we'll hold up our end. Like, I can understand where they're coming from on that side. So it is a very messy situation. It's a very shitty one, but I firmly do believe at the end of the day that NHL players will go. I think there's a lot of talk of it right now, them not going, obviously, because that's kind of the only thing, kind of news around hockey right now of substance.
One of the other things going around the league is there's so many people being like, what is going on right now? Everyone is injured. I don't think that's a coincidence. I think there's a lot of guys playing harder trying to get on these Olympic teams. I think everyone's given it extra berries across the league. That's why, is the East still have every single team above 500? Every team is going all out this year.
Yep.
Everyone looks better than they have. And it makes sense that all these guys are going extra hard, and there's quite a few extra injuries around the league.
Look at, I think a prime example is Connor Bedard. And, I think people are still up in the air on, will he make Team Canada? Will he not? But I think when you look at it, he clearly wants to, because what have we been talking about when we talk about, Connor Bedard? Or at least last year, the biggest thing when it was comparing Celebrini to Bedard. And that's still kind of thing this year, but the biggest thing was Celebrini plays a better defensive game than Bedard. Celebrini's harder on the forecheck and has a little bit more nastiness than Bedard. What has Bedard done all season long?
Yeah,
improved his defensive game, and that nastiness is now there in that forecheck and drive.
He looks like a dick out there, kind of.
Yeah, and I love
It's
it.
great.
He's going out there and doing exactly what people are calling him out for doing wrong and why he won't make the team. He said, "Look, I can do this stuff." Now the thing is we expect this from Connor Bedard full time now. Like I don't want him to go to the Olympics, make the team, then come back and be like, "All right, all that stuff's out the window now until
And
you know
I don't think he's
a
going
couple years
to.
down the
Like,
road." Like I think this is who he is now,
yeah,
and that's what the Olympics does. It brings these players out to show who they are, and it's like, okay, we now are getting these elite level players even, but they're even better now because
yeah,
they're rounding their game out in every area because that's what you need to do to go to the Olympics.
yeah.
And so I'm totally with you. Yeah.
And yeah, for anyone who is still thinking like, can these kids make the team and stuff? I don't know if they will. I don't know what's going to happen. I think Celebrini's approaching territory at this point. For me, if I'm making the team, I am locking those two in. Like, and people keep going, oh, but if you leave them, you have to leave. Okay, do it.
Yeah.
Like people keep being, oh, you'll have to leave behind Sam Bennett. Okay, if I'm leaving Brad Marchand off, I'm kicking his ass out the door myself. For Bedard or so, dude, these guys are so good. These
They're
guys are
they're
like
they're 2 and
future
3 in
heart
league leading
winners.
in scoring. They're your McDavid and your McKinnon that you're building future
Yeah,
Olympic teams around for the next, you know, 16 years.
yeah, and it's not just to get them the experience. They're here now. Like they're both so good already.
Yeah.
Like it, we're past the point of should they be on the team for me. Like
Yeah.
full and well
The
at this
only
point. It's
reason they
December.
don't
It should be
is
what
their
line are they
age.
on? Yeah,
Yeah. Don't like the only reason there's talk about it is because of how young they are. If they were 20, 23, 22 years old, there wouldn't even be like it'd be like, yeah, they're a lock, they're going.
yeah,
It's
or if
only
they've done
because of
this
their
seasons
age.
in a row or something.
Yeah,
But yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, so I really hope those two make it. They just it'd just be foolish to leave them off the team. Like,
Yeah. We should do a we will do that for a YouTube thing though. We'll do some predictions for
yeah,
what we think these teams will look like for the Olympics.
maybe we'll do those ones in person. Maybe we'll do that around the Christmas time.
Around the
I think
holidays, yeah.
that's
We'll have to
we could
rapid fire
potentially
though,
do that.
because I think around beginning of January is when they are going to announce them. So
No, so we'd be cutting it close. We'll see. We'll
well, you
see.
know, a lot of content for the listeners, the viewers on YouTube. So I'm all for it.
Yeah.
There will be
Um.
something. Don't know exactly what it's going to be, but we'll figure something out.
Yeah. And
Absolutely.
also, I have just looked it up just to confirm because I wasn't actually sure because I hadn't heard a ton about it. But
Hmm.
thankfully, PWHL players are going to the Winter Olympics as well, which
Yeah.
is gonna be incredible for that league, for just the women's sport of hockey as well, and that whole side of it. It's gonna be fantastic, and obviously it's the Olympics. Everyone's going to talk about the men's one because that's where you get the golden goal and all that. But
Yeah.
you know, the women are starting sooner than the men's
Yeah.
for the hockey tournament. So uh, it might be even more sketchy for them because they'll be the first ones trying out the ice.
Yeah.
In any type of professional thing. I know that they're saying that's going to be the test, but surely they're literally going to have some type of test. You're telling me they're not going to send the Zamboni driver out in skates and say, "Hey, is this dog shit or not?" Like,
Well, I mean, yeah, there will
even
be
if it's
that, but
not a
like
good high scale
the
test, they're going to be some type of test. It's not going to be Philippe Poulin is the first person to be on this ice ever. Like, it's not going to be that level of it, but
no, but then you also got to take in consideration, all the bathrooms, all the concessions, like all that stuff is going to
And
be
that's what they're supposed to be testing, a year ago, and then it got pushed to December,
how
and now
well
up
can
to
it
then.
function as an arena for a hockey
At
game?
at a certain point, so sorry, Olympics, maybe you make less money. Maybe you only have 2 concessions open in there. Like,
But that sucks for
y
fans, though. That's the thing.
sure, but you know
You
what sucks
destroy the
more?
fan
That
experience.
not having the fan experience because they can't play
Well,
the
true.
game. Like, they at a certain point, they fucked up bad enough that if they can't get it all done in time and, you know, got the dang building's not done. If they get to that point, what goes first? Well, okay, ice is the main thing. Once that's done, the locker rooms need to be there. They don't need to be great. You need bathrooms for people. Concessions, that falls back a little bit, you know?
It does, but again, if you're a fan, like why would I spend $2,000 to go to a Olympic game if it's gonna be shitty though? Like the game will be good, but
Oh, 100%.
you don't like it's like it's not worth it for people. Then if you're someone that's on the verge of maybe going, maybe not, it's like if it's gonna be a shitty overall experience, it's like it's not worth it. You're gonna get to watch a game, whatnot, that's
Yeah.
cool, but people travel for the Olympics and go to these for the overall experience. And if you're not gonna be given a good enough experience
Yeah.
for a lot of people, it's not gonna be worth it. They're
And you
gonna
know
save their
what?
money elsewhere for other things.
And you know what? The Olympics just needs to take it on the chin and be like, "We fucked up." You know what? Open as many concessions as you can by the time it gets built, but just be like, "You can bring your own food in." We
Yeah,
fucked up. We didn't make a good enough arena. We don't know if we'll have enough food or enough ways to get this out to you. You can bring your own shit in. Bring a cooler.
yeah.
And you know what? I bet it would be the most electric fucking atmosphere you've ever seen. Imagine a bunch of boys who traveled from Canada to Milan to watch this game,
No,
and they
actually, I
can
don't think
bring
you
in a bunch of
could.
stuff.
Nah, you couldn't. You wouldn't be able to.
You could.
No, because then you run the risk of uh Canada's playing US and Brady Kachuk, hit someone from behind, there's no penalty. And then all of a sudden you have a bunch of people just being like, oh, I got my beer can here, and they just start throwing them.
Well, you'd be serving it in cups or, over there, maybe even
But
beer
if you
cans
bring your own
already.
cooler,
Well, they would check it. You still need security and stuff.
so only food you can bring.
Maybe only food. Maybe it's good. I don't know. This is a decision for somebody smarter than me who
Yeah.
came up with this 10 seconds ago. But, you know,
Yeah. And you
it,
know what? I think what you said is
yeah,
perfect though. If they just admit, hey, we fucked up, I
that's
think
the
it'd make
biggest
the whole
thing.
situation a lot better. Some
They need to
accountability.
say they fucked up and they need to do what they can to make it right. I just think the ice
Mhm.
quality and the literal rink, not the entire arena, just the ice part needs to be up to Olympic-ish standards. We already know it's going to be smaller, and of course they need, it needs to be able to keep the ice cool, so they need the roof built and everything.
Yeah.
Um, if they have to cut a couple other things, maybe the walls aren't painted in the concourse. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe there's only 60% of the concessions. If that's what it takes, you know, you got to do that before making the ice. You got to cut that out before anything to do with the ice is
Mm.
mainly my thing.
No, yeah, absolutely. No, I'm absolutely right with you on that for sure. But I think we can move on here from the Olympic talk here. Our second last segment here. I don't know how you want to do this. I know you want to do something with playoff predictions or something like that as of where we're at in the season, but I don't know how you necessarily wanted to go about it.
Yeah, so um I'll bring up the standings here. The generally accepted cutoff point for we are very much past the early start of the season is American Thanksgiving. That happened recently. I don't remember the exact date, but we're going to do it from today. And we're going to take a look at where teams are and we're going to see, like, do we think this is sustainable? Are there teams out of the playoff race that we think are going to get up into the playoff race? Like, what's the stat? It's like 75 or 80% of teams that are like 80% of the teams that are in the playoffs by American Thanksgiving end up being in the playoffs by the
In the
end
playoffs. Yeah.
when the season's over. So,
Yeah.
you know, let's take a look. Do we think it's going to be that amount of people that are
Yeah.
that are staying up there, or do we think some teams are going to swap?
All right. Sounds like a
So
plan to me.
it's much easier to bring up on my phone the frickin' standings for some reason, but um, as of right now in the East, we have the top three teams in the Atlantic are the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Montreal Canadiens, and the Ottawa Senators. In the Metro, it is the Washington Capitals, Carolina Hurricanes, and 1 point behind the Hurricanes, the Philadelphia Flyers, 15-8-3. And then in the wild cards 1 and 2, you have the New Jersey Devils and the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Penguins are tied in points with the New York Islanders, but they've also played 2 less games. And then the rest of the standings is Islanders, Red Wings, Rangers, Bruins, Blue Jackets, Leafs, Sabres, and in dead last in the East, the Florida Panthers.
Panthers.
Um, I guess there's we'll get to the West afterwards. We might as well go over the East now that we've just played that all out.
Yeah.
Um, what are some of these teams that are most shocking to you? Do you think there's any teams that you've got on
Um,
good authority you think are gonna get back into the playoff hunt? Teams that'll drop out?
so for the teams that are already in a playoff spot that I think are going to make the playoffs,
Yeah.
um, is one, two, three, four. So five of the current eight. I think Tampa, Ottawa, Washington, Carolina, and the Devils.
Yeah. I would
Those are
agree with all those.
those are 5 teams that we're going to see in the playoffs after the regular season. The teams
Right.
that I think that are in them are that could fall out: Montreal, Philly, and Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think Montreal I'm not as confident as, the Capitals, the Hurricanes, or the Lightning, but I do think the Canadians probably still make it.
I think I think the door's open for the Canadians, but again, that second line center position worries me, and the inconsistency in goaltending worries me.
Yeah.
And when you look at it, you're gonna have teams like you got to imagine Toronto figures it out. We know Florida is going to figure it out, because again, like we talked about with Florida, they don't care if they're win the President's Trophy or they just barely squeeze in the second wild card spot.
Yeah.
Regular season, like as long as they get to the playoffs, they're fine. And you
But
got to
they
imagine
have
Florida gets
coasted.
back into the
They have coasted the last 2 seasons to get there. Now, at the very minimum, they're gonna have to exert themselves to get to the playoffs at this rate,
yeah,
and
absolutely. But they're also
I
going to
think
start to get
if they
healthier
do
again
that, I
too.
think they would still make it. Um,
Yeah,
but maybe
they're
they'll
going to
be a
start to
bit
get
more
healthier
tired than
again
other
too.
years.
Definitely. Plus, it might be a little bit of a struggle for them, because it's a lot of hockey they've been playing. But again, I do think they're going to get healthier, and I think they're going to get back there.
Yeah.
Until Florida misses the playoffs, I'm going to say that they
It
make it.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
find their
Like
way back.
they, teams that win that much, they get that aura. If they are down 0-3 in the series and a team hangs 4 goals on them in the first period, I'm not writing them off in that series yet. They could come back,
Yeah,
win the game, and win 4 straight. Like it's
yeah.
some teams get
So
to command that respect.
so that's now what I've got those five, and I've got Florida back in. I'm assuming so that would leave only one spot because again, I'm assuming potentially Toronto. And I imagine New Jersey finishes
I
top
agree
three in
as
the
well.
Metro. So it's gonna be like same as last year: Washington, Carolina, New Jersey, those three.
Yeah.
So then you're kind of looking at teams like Montreal. I think Pittsburgh probably doesn't end up making it. I think they're off to a great start this year. It's a fun team. I'm having a lot of fun watching them. I don't think they end up making it. I think you're by the end of the season, you might be looking at a battle of Montreal, Detroit. I think the Islanders probably are in the mix until like
The Islanders might be in that conversation,
the
but
final like 2 weeks, but I think they kind of fall off just near the end.
yeah.
So you're probably looking like a Montreal, Detroit, potentially Columbus battle for that last playoff spot.
I wouldn't write off the Rangers either. They got a lot of stuff going on, but
Yeah,
through
yeah,
all
yeah,
of
yeah.
that,
Rangers definitely could be in
14,
the
12,
mix.
and 2. So,
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, fuck. Even the
Every team
Bruins, man, it's
I could
crazy.
still see making the playoffs. Like I'm just trying to predict, but like I could see a world where Buffalo could get hot, and because Buffalo's still in it. Like every team in the East is still right in it.
Could you imagine a world where there's one spot up for grabs and like it comes down to the last game of the year and Florida chokes and the Sabres make the playoffs? Like, could you imagine?
That would be pretty sick.
That's a fun
That would be cool.
timeline.
I'd be on board with that. But I think as right now, the teams that I think are for sure, in my opinion, I think are going to be in the plus 100% for sure. Tampa Bay, Ottawa, Washington, Carolina, New Jersey, Florida, and so that leaves 2 spots
Yeah.
open. And again,
Yeah, I agree.
I'm banking on Toronto probably figuring it out and getting there, but I'm not
I'm
throwing them in
surprised how
there as
many
one of the
people have written them off. There's a lot of people like being like, "Damn,
a
it's
lot of
too bad they
people.
don't have their first because this is a lottery pick." And I'm like, I mean, we are well into the season at this point, but like
They literally
that just
went their
seems
next.
crazy.
They win 2 games and they're second in the Atlantic.
Oh my god, you're right. I was like,
Like
you mean second wild card because that's where Pittsburgh is. But no, you're right. That would tie them with Montreal. Like
that's the thing, right? Yeah, you
it's
can't
so
write any
close.
team off yet.
Yeah. That's why it's crazy how good the league has been this year. Like, yeah, the
Hmm.
Panthers are bottom of the conference. The conference has half
Yeah,
the teams in the league and they're dead last in it. They're 12-12-1.
yeah,
They they're not doing bad. It's
yeah.
crazy like that. But I completely agree with those picks. I think those 6 teams are absolutely making it. I also assume Toronto figures it out. Some of their guys get healthier as well. Um, I think they will. That last team that makes it, I think, is probably the Canadians. But yeah, Red Wings, Rangers could make a push.
There's so many good teams, right? It's really probably gonna cut. It could come down to the trade deadline and
Buys the most.
who pulls off the bigger move. Yeah, absolutely.
Or do some of these teams decide, man, everyone else is doing well. All it takes is one trade and we drop to the bottom and we can get a good pick. Like
Yeah,
maybe a team we
absolutely.
don't expect sells a little bit.
Yeah, they wave the
Uh,
white flag and yeah.
we can move over to the Western Conference now. Uh, in the top three in the Central, we have, of course, the Colorado Avalanche, the Dallas Stars, and the Minnesota Wild. In the Pacific, we have the Ducks, the Golden Knights, and the Kings. And then wild card 1 and 2 is Utah Mammoth and your San Jose Sharks.
Love to hear it.
And then rest of the conference is Seattle Kraken, Chicago Blackhawks, Winnipeg Jets, Edmonton Oilers, St. Louis Blues, Vancouver Canucks, Nashville Predators, and Calgary Flames. Man, I would have thought you were crazy if by December you told me the standings go Sharks, Kraken, Blackhawks, then the Jets, then the Oilers. That
Yeah.
seems crazy. Um, Bit more of a point disparity over here in the West. The Avalanche are
Yeah.
leading the league with 44 points. The Stars have 41, and the
Hmm.
Flames are all the way down at 22. So they cannot as easily as Florida or Toronto win a couple games and be into it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Of those playoff teams, I guess which ones over here in the West do you think are locks to make the playoffs?
And I don't necessarily know if they're all going to finish in the top three in the Central, but I think Colorado, Dallas, Minnesota. I think those three are
Yeah,
locks.
I agree.
Um, in the Pacific, the only team that I can say for me right now that's a lock is Vegas. I
I
think
don't.
there's a very good chance Anaheim makes it, but it's also a very young team that I could see them going on a potential skid and just missing out on the playoffs because again, they're only 4 points from or 5 points from being out of a playoff spot,
Yeah,
right? So again, I think Anaheim probably makes it, but I'm not going to throw them in the lock because they're still a young team, and I could see a world where they just miss out on the playoffs. And
I
maybe,
completely agree
one of
with
those
them.
things of they're on the right track with their, coming out of the rebuild, right? And we've seen teams before like Toronto kind of rush the process and mess it up. And I think Anaheim might be like, if there's a move that makes sense long term, they'll do it, but they're not going to pull the trigger on a move to try and win the cup this year and then derail
Yeah, they're
what
not
they've kind
trading
of
for
been
Corey
building.
Perry. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
not trading for vets and stuff. Yeah, I completely
So
agree. I think the Ducks probably make it, but yeah, I wouldn't have
I
them a
think they
lock
probably
either.
do, but so Vegas is kind of the only
I
Pacific
don't
team I
have
can
Vegas as a
say.
lock, honestly. I think it's just those top three
I think
teams.
I think Vegas is a lock for me just because of how weak the Pacific is. Like realistically, San Jose making the
That's
playoffs,
that's
probably
fair.
not. Seattle making the playoffs, probably not. Vancouver and Calgary, no. So then you're looking at, Vegas, LA, Anaheim, Edmonton. Because Pacific, there's a chance Pacific only gets their three. They don't even get the two wild card spots. So that's
It's
why I'm kind of
true.
like, for me, Vegas is a lock just because I don't see the season ending with Anaheim, LA, and Seattle above them.
That's fair.
is
Um,
kind of the only thing.
they're lower down. No, I have to. I'm putting the Oilers as a lock, not even just to think in the playoffs. I'm putting them as a lock.
They're
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 what
they're 99% for me, just because
one
again
one win puts
they
them in
got
a
to pull
wild
the
card
trigger.
spot,
Yeah,
and yeah, they're due to go on their patented Oilers heater, and they just have too many guys that want to win so bad that I just can't see this team losing enough regular season games to not even make the playoffs.
they're a 99% for me, only because again the goaltending has been this year by the numbers the worst they've had in the McDavid era. So again, the
Yeah,
worst goaltending era. And again, their depth is so much weaker than it has been previous years. So that's
that's
the
true.
only reason I don't. Basically, if they want to make the playoffs, McDavid and Drysdale are going to have to drag this team,
And that's the thing.
and it's very possible. Like
Unless
it's
they get
not
injured,
out of.
I can't see them missing. Like if they like are getting 700 save percentage goaltending by March, I just expect McDavid to just be thrown up back to back 6 point nights. Like I just can't see that man be denied. But yeah, they've
I get
not
what
done a
you're
great
saying.
job of
I,
building
I
the
can't
team.
I can't throw them in a lock just because
That's fair.
I I
What
I
about
I can't see a world that they miss, but like it's 99% for me that they're gonna make the playoffs.
yeah?
Um,
What about the
the
Jets?
LA Kings, Winnipeg Jets, probably. So I think once they get Hellebuck back, they're already starting to play better, and it kind of sucks that it took Hellebuck going down for the team to start to play better. And
Yeah,
they're starting to get healthier now, which definitely helps. So I think Winnipeg does, but I think they probably only end up in a wild card spot. I don't think they jump above Minnesota, Dallas, Colorado. I think they.
Minnesota. Yeah, wild card three or Central Division three. I think is their ceiling at this point.
Yeah.
The Avs and the Stars are just on another level and have been all year. Like,
So if we're going Colorado, Dallas, Minnesota, that's there. Winnipeg takes one of the wild card spots, and then Pacific, Vegas, Anaheim, and then we'll say Edmonton in there. You're down to
yeah,
one wild card spot. So now you're looking at basically LA and Utah probably. Because again, San Jose is not going to be a buyer. So teams are going to continue to get better, and San Jose probably sells off some guys that are on expiring deals. Same with Seattle, same with Chicago. They're all having
yeah.
really good starts here, but I don't see them making the playoffs because I think they start to slide. St. Louis, they could make it. If there's any team that was going to climb up from the basement, it could be them. But again, I think St. Louis starts to look at selling a bit and doing some kind of a quick little retool again because they pulled it off flawlessly last time. And
Yeah.
then Vancouver, Nashville, Calgary, it's just not their year. So you're kind of looking at LA and Utah for
Frankly,
that last wild card spot.
I'm surprised that St. Louis is doing as well as they are with the goaltending they've got. Both their goaltending has just been absolutely brutal. So I'm surprised that they've won as many games as they have at this point.
Yeah.
That being said, I don't see them. I mean, if they move off of Binnington, I guess they would have to bring somebody else in, but the odds of that person coming in and being much better are not great. So
It's not very likely, yeah. So
yeah,
yeah, I think you're kind of looking at that last spot between Utah and LA. And I could see that one going either way because very different teams.
yeah.
Like
Who do you
very,
think?
very different teams.
Who do you think gets it? If you have to pick one,
If I had to pick one, I would go with the Kings.
really? Okay, I would go Utah.
I would go the Kings just because I think they've got just a little bit more of that experience.
Yeah,
And not saying it doesn't mean something to Utah, but I think this year specifically, it just means more to the Kings because it's kind of their final run with Kopitar. And I
yeah.
think also within that locker room, no one's willing to admit it. But I think the LA Kings kind of know after this year that's
At best,
that's
it's
it for a
retool
couple of years.
time. Yeah,
Yeah, because you lose a guy like Kopitar, you
Doughty's
just can't
aging
replace
out pretty
that. And it's
soon.
not. Yeah, and it's not only you're losing Kopitar, but you're not even getting anything back. Like he's riding off into the sunset, going out on his own terms, and I love that for him. I love that he was a one team guy his whole career, but that's you can't replace that,
Yeah,
and that's going to hurt the Kings. So the Kings kind of know basically it's cup or bust for them. and I could see them being pretty aggressive around the trade deadline too. Whereas Utah, I think just kind of stay the course. You've got your core. You just have to, your core just, you've built now. They have to get you there. You don't need to bring pieces in. You just need what you've got to keep working. And it's getting better and better for them. But
Yeah.
absolutely, I could see Utah making
They've
it though,
still
100%.
they've got a great team and quite a few prospects. Like I wouldn't be entirely shocked if they decided to move a prospect out and a pick for a decently big name player.
I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't hate that.
If they
But
want to
it almost
bring
have
in,
to be on the defensive side of the team.
yeah,
There's not really
you
a room in your top six.
Erasmus Anderson.
I could see that.
I'm
Could
sure the
definitely
Flames
see
would
that.
love to get T.J. Ginla.
Oh, right. Anderson's trade value is only going up, so it is nice for Flames. Um, but yeah, I think overall for the West, for me, it's really four teams are a hard lock for me, and that's Colorado,
Yeah,
Dallas, Minnesota, Vegas. Um, and
with the
again, I think
assumption
Vegas is
that
probably the weakest of those four teams.
yeah,
But again, they're in the Pacific, and I just can't see three teams in the Pacific
that's
being above
fair.
Vegas. That's just really what it comes down to.
Yeah, that's totally fair because yeah, I'm looking at them and like they're just haven't been impressive this year. They've only got 12 wins. They've got 6
Yeah.
losses and 8 overtime losses. So they've lost more games than they've won. But yeah, they would have to lose out to the wild card 2 wild card teams and 3 in the Pacific. And that just
Yeah.
doesn't seem like it's going to happen, even if the Oilers jump them, the Ducks stay the course. You still need the Kings to pull ahead of them or somebody else, and then they'd still have to be below wild card. So, you know what?
Yeah.
That's probably fair. The Vegas Golden Knights are probably getting in.
And then
Yeah,
Anaheim, Winnipeg, Edmonton is all like 99% for me. Anaheim
yeah,
and Edmonton for kind of the same but opposite. I could see Edmonton going on a massive win streak to get in. I could see Anaheim going on a massive losing streak to fall
yeah.
out.
I think
And
that
Winnipeg, they're getting healthier, and Hellebuck will be back, and
they just won the
they'll be
Presidents.
fine. They'll get there.
Yeah, it's
It'll be a wild
crazy
card spot,
because
but
the Ducks are first in the Pacific, and the Jets and Oilers are 3 and 4 spots out of the wild card. But yeah, I probably have the Ducks as the least likely to be in the playoffs out of those 3, honestly, just
yeah.
because those are 2 really good teams despite not playing like it so far.
Yeah. That being said, though, like I do think the Ducks
I do
probably will
think
make it, but
they probably make
I
it.
just can't throw the lock on them just yet.
Yeah, completely agree on that.
Um, I think
But
that's it for that segment. We can move on into the
yeah,
final segment we've got here. We've got another fun game. For if you've been here before, we love to wrap up the episode with a fun low game. Uh, Braden, you were mentioning to me the other day that this one seemed to do pretty well. People enjoyed it, so I figured why not bring it back? We're gonna bring back another buy or bail.
nice.
For
Love it.
those unfamiliar with this game, pretty simple. I've got different scenarios and whatnot and things that could or could not happen. It's pretty simple. I asked Braden if he's buying on that, if he thinks it's going to happen, or he's going to bail. He's not hopping on that wagon. And then he can give his reasoning with one sentence.
One
Pretty
sentence.
simple. It's a game neither of us can lose at, which is always fun. We're all winners here today.
Yes, sir.
These ones are kind of all over the place. There's no certain theme with this one, so we're just going to be bouncing around the league,
All
bouncing
right.
around players, and just having
This will
fun
be
with
a
it.
this will be a great game to play when the trade deadline's showing up. It'll be perfect for that.
It's gonna be a fun one. First, we got here the NHL players will go to the Olympics.
Yeah, I'm buying on that. You just have to believe it'll happen. There's no way they rug pull us and the players again. Especially, dude, and how much money they've sold in jerseys and stuff like that. Like they couldn't do this to us.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Next, we have the Vancouver Canucks will blow things up and ultimately win the draft lottery.
Oh, that's an interesting one. I'm gonna bail on that. I'm gonna say no. Um, this- I think they might blow it up. I think they might blow it up, though. I don't see them winning the draft lottery, though. That they
But
kind of
they
seem
do
like
blow it up.
they're
Okay.
they're not as far as sports teams go. They're not quite at cursed.
Mhm.
They're closing in on cursed territory as far as a team goes,
Close.
though.
Absolutely.
And I don't think their fans would disagree with that at all.
No, they would agree. Next, the Montreal Canadiens stay patient and do not trade for a second line center this season.
That's so fucking boring. And I think and I'm gonna buy. I'm getting the feeling they're just gonna not
They're going to ride it
fill that
out.
spot. They're just gonna see if they can fill it from within, and it's gonna be a disappointing first round exit for them.
Mhm.
I hope they
I'm,
buy.
I'm kind of with you. I
Despite them
want them
being
to,
in
but I'm.
the conference with and division with my team, I
Mhm.
you know, it's a lot more fun when teams do shit.
Yeah. Um, Kind of talked about this a little bit, but we'll actually finally get your what you think. The Anaheim Ducks finish first in the Pacific at season's end.
First in the Pacific. Do I still have the standings around? They are in first by 1 point. Vegas, the Kings, the shut man, it still looks just as goofy as 2 seconds ago when I looked at it. I'm gonna bail on that. I'm gonna say no. Frankly, what is it? 29, 31. A 3-game win streak puts the Oilers tied with the Ducks.
Yeah.
I think the Oilers are probably taking Pacific 1.
Shit.
It's
Well, that
close
kind of goes
enough,
into
and this is always their worst part of the year.
so this can kind of go into the next one. One of Edmonton or Toronto misses the playoffs.
So I have Edmonton getting in, and I know we were saying that I have Toronto getting in, but there's a lot of teams that want in the East.
The East is going to be a dogfight. Like the West has, they have a few teams that you're like, they're not making it. The East, wide open.
I, like the Flyers could make it, man. They looked good. Like, and when they're losing games, they often look good losing them somehow.
Philly
I
always
think
looks good when they're losing, don't they? Losing just looks good on them. I agree.
I'm I'm gonna say that they both make it,
So
but
you're buying on that? Yeah.
I'm gonna buy on that. But
Or no, you're bailing on that. Sorry, you're bailing.
okay, yeah, I was gonna say I'm bailing on the idea of either of them missing, but it's like if you told me in the summer that that would be a question you're asking me in December, I'd be like, holy shit, what's going on?
Yeah, that's a good point.
At least for Toronto, I
Um,
guess Edmonton is
yeah.
generally around this point at this point in the season.
One of Dallas or Colorado makes the Stanley Cup final. So either
Uh
Dallas or Colorado comes out of the West.
Again, it's you've asked about these two great teams. This is secretly an Edmonton Oilers question. Because you're talking about the cup final and only one team from the West can get there. Oh, it looks like a depleted squad. I'm gonna say yes. I think one of them makes it.
I'm
I
with
d-
you. I don't know
I
which one, but I
yeah,
think they're
I
going
don't
to
know
play
which
each
one,
other, and
but
whoever wins that is.
give me another game 7, man. Do it again. Please run that back.
What we've got? You've got three more. Someone not named Nathan McKinnon wins the Hart Trophy.
I'm not buying that.
No?
Not buying that. No.
Do you think someone
Dude's
else swoops in?
No,
Or
no, I'm not buying somebody else winning
oh,
it.
okay.
I think Nathan McKinnon's locking it up. I would love to see there's a couple of guys that are up there that I'd love to see win it. Frankly, if I had to pick right now, it's between McKinnon or Makar. And I would almost put Makar ahead of him. Just what he's doing as a defenseman is crazy, but
I don't hate it.
I I
I'd
think
love to
I
see
think they
defense win the
really
Hart.
I think they really want to give it to McKinnon. And when he's playing like
And I
this,
don't
it's
hate
not.
it. Like
Yeah, when
the way he's playing is
you don't have to pretend that he's better than he is when he's playing like this. Like
yeah.
nobody's going to be like they have an agenda when the guy leading in goals and points wins the Hart. So
Yeah. Fair enough. Absolutely.
he's got to be the front runner.
This one I probably know your answer, but I thought, hey, let's throw it in. Why not? And give this guy a shout out. Jesper Wallstedt wins the Calder. So Rookie of the Year.
I like that. And I like that he's getting a lot of buzz. I'm gonna bail on that. I'm gonna say no. I think he comes in second though. I think Schaefer's been just I think most years he would win it. But Schaefer's been outstanding.
Beast.
And
Dog.
It's really hard to be consistent in the NHL as a goalie. I think his numbers start dropping off at a certain point. Not to a bad point, but I think,
when do you also got to assume
Schaefer's been so good, he needs like a 925. Like he needs to be.
But also that, he's kind of got to play at least 35 games. Like he's almost kind of got to start to steal the starting job.
I was gonna say
in Minnesota if he wants to.
He needs at least 35 or 40 probably. And
yeah,
I mean, if he keeps playing like this, he's gonna take the crease. Like there's nothing Gustafsson can do about it if he just keeps playing like this. But yeah, it's hard to say. I watched a full Minnesota Wild game the other day. No Lightning game was on, and I was like, holy shit! Like he's not just happening into these saves either. He's making it happen. Like some goalies, it looks like they just have gravity, right? And the pucks just keep hitting them. No, he's going out of his way to make great saves.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And the last one here, don't know why I did this one, but I thought, hey, this is fun. The Columbus Blue Jackets pull the trigger on a big trade.
On a big trade.
So assuming they go out and they grab a big name player or something and try and go on a run. Don't know why I picked the Blue Jackets, but I thought, hey, fuck, that's fun.
I'm trying to think of a player. What are they bringing back? Panarin?
Alex Tuch?
Nazem Kadri in a Blue Jackets? I actually really like Alex Tuch as a fit, frankly. And if he's willing to play in Buffalo, he's willing to play anywhere.
Yeah.
So I like that. Yes, they're gonna do it.
I don't know why I did that one, but I thought, hey, it's fun. And you know what? You bought it, so I love it.
You know what? I bet Elvis Merzlikins goes on a 5-game shutout streak, and then he gets traded to Edmonton, where he promptly puts up a 750.
I can see it. I see the vision. But that is it for this episode. That was our final segment. Once again, do want to thank everybody for tuning in to another episode of the Stick 'em Up podcast. New episodes every Tuesday, Friday. Braden, we are out of here for the weekend. A lot of good hockey games coming up, a lot of big games. But before we get out of here for the weekend, I must ask you, as always, final thoughts.
Final thoughts. It is almost the weekend here. If you're listening to this before your workday is over on Friday, make sure to get all your stuff done, especially if that includes building an entire arena that Olympic Games will be played in. You got to go do your homework. You got to get that finished. Don't leave it to the last second because then you're going to be stressing out a couple of homeboys out in Alberta because we want to see that hockey, baby.
We all do. We're all. Yeah. I do think they better go. I don't like how
I hate that we're having this conversation
when we're 2 months out as well.
Have you noticed that like the last month? Constantly, who's making Team Canada? What's going on now? We're not talking about it as much. The guys on TSN Sports, they're not talking about it as much. I'm not loving that.
And it's not a great sign.
You don't want the conversation to shift from the team to does it happen? Because that's fucked.
Yeah. But hopefully we'll have a little bit more news come beginning of next week, and we'll be able to feel a little bit better about it. All of us together here. But that is it for this episode one final time. Hope all of you enjoyed. And as always, we will see all of you lovely people out on the ice next week.